flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. Welcome to the meeting. The next thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the last meeting. And they were really good.
We're good. I make a motion, we approve the minutes of May 28th, 2025.
Second. Motion by Kristen and a second by Mark to approve the minutes. May 28th, 2025. All those in favor? Thank you. Next to department reports and.
I gotta tell you, I'm gonna make this quick, which is unlike me, but my grandson's got a baseball game down the field, so I'm gonna give my report and then I'm gonna exit if you don't mind.
That's what we need.
Him to have the grandson have a game.
Yep. I just want to thank everybody for your support during the budget process here. Thank the community for their support. Much appreciated. You guys worked long and hard on presenting the best options for the communities and for the departments. So thank you all for that. We were able to secure a grant for 3 new portable radios for the officers, $21,000 grant. We purchased 3 new portables, so we don't have to worry about that in the upcoming budgets. And we're also getting 3 night vision binoculars to help the guys out on the road. For whatever reason, if they break in or lost child, they can scan the woods and it'll show up through this infrared. And finally, the last thing I have is I just want to congratulate the Monmouth girls softball team for their 14-0 season. And tomorrow at 4 o'clock on the Monmouth field, they are playing Old Orchard Beach in the first round of the playoffs. And I just want to wish them luck.
Are you there yet?
And the boys team too plays tomorrow, right?
Yes. Yeah. We did that. So that's all I have, unless you guys have any questions or. I sent you some invoices for you to pay tomorrow. One other thing, our new officer Rose is in the FTO process in week 3. She's doing excellent. I don't know if everybody's met her, but I'd like to, at the next meeting, bring her in and introduce her to everybody so you can see her face to face.
What's her name?
Rose Mandela.
Roseman.
She's being FDO'd by Olivia right now, so she's doubling up in Olivia's style. We're hoping to get her out on the road in July. Straighten up real quick.
Blue pen.
Blue Pen, yes. For those who don't know, Blue Pen is a full-time certified officer, so we don't have to send her to the academy. Yeah.
That was a green pen.
We all started with a green pen.
I just have one question. With digging down at the corner of Maple Street and the post office, when coming up around that corner or coming down, cars have been parking on the wrong side of the road in front of the post office. So when you come up Maple Street or when you're coming down Main Street, they're here facing the wrong way. I know there's nothing that you can do, but I don't know if we could put a sign down there until they've moved up past, or because they block the through traffic and it's dangerous for somebody who has to get out and water the plants at the
museum. Well, I mean,
Museum and.
yeah, and then they, pull out and almost hit people coming out of Maple Street if Maple Street has a green light. Yeah, I've seen it all walking lately down there. It's been,
It is a mess, and to be honest with you, I told the guys to avoid that as much as they could, just because I don't want to get caught in lights down there.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I get that part of it, but people need reminders to, I mean, they block other cars from coming through.
yes.
Also, just one other thing, for those who didn't know, Dana's back on a 20-hour week schedule right now doing, light duty stuff. And hard to keep him constrained to light duty stuff.
Imagine.
So maybe he could sit in a lawn chair down in front of the post office and direct, people from.
Solo cup.
Exactly. Say, please don't park like that.
Get him an orange flag or a
I'll,
lightsaber or
I
something.
will approach the post office and just make it known that it's creating an issue.
Yeah. Well, and I get it, because there's so much traffic. That is just one of the deadliest
And
spots
they
in
can't
town.
park on the right
Right.
side of the road right now to come in the post office. I get it all, but they can go around back or. Just
Yeah, it's one of those, short-term things for a long-term reward.
Yeah,
Put up with it from time to time being.
Yeah.
and we'll get through it.
Not easy getting your mail right now, is it?
I do go around.
Yes.
And going up.
Back, yeah,
Right. And there's
You
spaces out
couldn't get
there.
there today.
yeah, it's
They
crazy.
were packed, so I had to park out in the blacksmith.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's okay, because it's on this side of the light.
Right.
So you can go around, when the lights.
That's right.
Thanks again, folks, appreciate it.
Thank you.
What team does he play on?
Cook shop.
Quick Shot, see, they're not even the same. They were Comets, Lions, Chickadees, Vivians, Belters.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even the same teams anymore, so can't say go Chickadees.
You can, but we'd all look at you funny.
But they do anyway, so it's what to do.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thanks, chief.
A few things, the union contract is done. I'll be bringing that to you for ratification at your next meeting. Officially applied for the boating facilities grant for the Wilson Pond property, so I'm working on a purchase sale agreement for that parcel down there, so if we were to get the grant, then we can move forward with that. We have signed the final MOU with RCAM to move the heating assistance money to them. We're working on making sure that the balance that we send over is 100% correct. The LED lease is finalized for the town. You guys approved that order at your last meeting. If you, hopefully you'll approve the order for tonight for the Compton Hall HVAC lease. That's on your agenda shortly. And just to let everybody know that the Highland Terrace Bridge is being resurfaced. They may have started today. They were supposed to start today. That's a DOT project because it's a bridge. So just anybody that wants to know that. Lastly, the code enforcement officer, Andy, has given his notice. He's willing to stay on until we find somebody and willing to train whoever. He doesn't have any other place he's going. He's just not, he doesn't have enough time to give us, and he knows it. His schedule's full. He can't give us any more time, even if we wanted him to. So he's gonna move on, but he's willing to stay until we find somebody. He's not gonna get lost. He's stuck.
What does that situation look like out there right now?
I
Joining
think-
up with
I think-
somebody?
There's probably, I don't know, 10 of them vacant right now, at least.
At least there were 6 and 2 today.
Yeah.
That's 8, and there's some that we don't know about.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll be flexible with what we can do, but we are hopeful we can have more hours, and I'm trying to stress that if we do get somebody that we kind of negotiate more standard office hours, so there's more kind of consistency of when. So people can count on him being whoever it is, being there for the period of time that kind of advertised. Right now, he's kind of in and out of the office inspecting and just not ideal.
Mentioning paving, I was asked today about the Wilson Pond Road paving. And
Part that was done last year, or the part that isn't done?
part that is,
Yeah, okay. It's not on the list for this year. This year, it's Tilson Road and that the north end of Academy is what is planned for this year, with the warrant article approved yesterday for that. Tony's already got the paver lined up, so.
so, I think these two ladies.
I asked you. There were 3 or 4 people concerned about it, I believe, on Wilson Pond. And it really needs paving, and we knew that it was on the plan for 2 or 3 years ago. And maybe that was the lower section.
Yeah, it was the part that was done, which is, you're correct. It was on the plan, but that was the section sort of in the plan. We're still moving through it, but the 250,000, as the board knows, that we put in there is nowhere near enough to get us caught up to what we actually need to get the roads, everywhere to be where we'd like them, or at least be, somewhat substandard, right?
Right.
But we know that road is in a rough shape over where you're talking. Yeah, we are aware. I'm not sure if if it would be in next year's or not. I'm really not sure. I'd have to ask Tony, but I can certainly inquire.
Okay, that would be
And I can
great.
pass that on to Doug.
That would be great.
Yeah, sure.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
It was reported here, that Tony wasn't gonna do that section only because they're gonna dig it up to do the water around.
Right, that is a concern, but the issue is
Oh,
Taken off,
I see what
they're
you're
not gonna
saying.
pave it and then have to
Right.
rip it up and then repave it.
Okay.
the only reason I'm hesitating with that is because there's gonna have to be a larger conversation. If we can't get the money for that, it can't just sit there for 3 or 4 more years. Like, it's gonna have to get done. So with the congressionally delegated funding all going away last year, the money was in there. So if we can't get it in this cycle, then this fall, when we're doing the budget, Tony will bring that forward and say, what do you folks want to do? Like, do you want to, because he knows that road is falling apart. I mean, we know it.
Yeah, okay.
It's just, we didn't want to
Remembering.
pave it and then dig it up.
Thanks, Jake.
Breakfast.
Thanks for being part of our memories.
I'll have breakfast with them in the morning.
That's
Before we go.
So they didn't want to dig the road up
Yeah.
because they had funding. Just
Okay.
that.
On to select board reports.
Is that all of yours?
Yes, that's everything. Yep. Unless anybody has any questions.
Select board reports.
No.
Nothing. Nothing. Public comment?
I just want to ask any more. Justin wrote to me about the beach program, and I'm wondering if there's been any updates since he wrote to me on what's going to happen. Is it going to open? And
Well, the beach is always open. It's never closed. We have a tentative offer with a person who was accepted. I'm just not releasing the name because they haven't filled out any paperwork yet. So that, technically we don't have anything from them. So once we had that person kind of in the can, this week we posted for lifeguards because we would have somebody to actually supervise them. Before we weren't moving forward with lifeguards because we didn't have anybody to supervise them, and there's nobody else that can, manage their timesheets or make sure they show up. So we're moving forward with that. If the chief was here, I was gonna, we have some safety concerns with putting in docks if there's no lifeguards, because most towns don't put in docks because most towns don't have lifeguards. So we haven't put the docks in because obviously it's very shallow there, and 10-year-old boys will be 10-year-old boys if there's no one telling them to stop, and we're afraid they're gonna get hurt. I was gonna joke with the chief because he said in the department head meeting that he would be willing to go and put the ropes and the swim buoys out, at least for now, until we were able to hire some lifeguards. So that's kind of where we are. So the hope is that early next week, the chief and maybe a few other people will be willing to go out and put those swim buoys in so we can at least have the ropes out. But everything is kind of pending us getting all those people in place. After that, I don't know what it will look like because I don't know what everybody's capable of putting together in that amount.
I noticed in your job description for rec director, it said they had to be a certified lifeguard. Is that still what you're looking for?
It was a preferred requirement of the four very qualified people we had. One of them was, this is not one of them. He has run, I'm being careful because I don't want to out the guy until he actually is here, because he's working in another position. He has run a large summer camp, which included a waterfront program.
Also, I saw that you posted the lifeguard position. Are you considering posting it, or is it posted anywhere besides the Monmouth town?
I'm not sure if Lori has posted it. Otherwise, it either went up late Monday afternoon or sometime yesterday. And obviously yesterday, we weren't doing anything
Because
yesterday.
I did
So,
a quick search and I couldn't find it.
and it may not have been done yet.
And it just seems to me like unless it's a Monmouth person, it would be really unlikely for somebody from another town to check everybody's town
Sure.
websites for a job. That's just something.
Yeah, we generally do. It's just that I think, like I said, it was either decided, it was decided Monday to post the lifeguards because we have some confidence that this person's going to come on board. But then Tuesday, everybody in the town office had other things to worry about.
And then I have one more thing, and I've mentioned it before, but have you ever considered outsourcing with Swim Spectrum, Lisa Hash's business,
No, I have
to
not.
oversee it?
No, I have not, because the board instructed me earlier this year when we didn't have a waterfront, anybody apply for those positions to create the full-time rec director position, and that's where we've been moving towards since. It's taken time to hire the person.
But that person, hopefully that person will come on and there'll be some lifeguards that could be there, but there'd be no swim program, I doubt, right?
Probably not this year. I would be surprised, right? Because when the person gets here, I mean, everybody started a job before. You don't even know how to get paid for the first month. So and I've admitted that all along, that was, highly likely that this year that we wouldn't have everything set up in time to.
Wouldn't there be money in the budget available to help out with the swim lessons?
I would have to figure it out because
I mean, if you outsourced, I can't imagine that I know you suggest, I think it was you suggested maybe by July there'd be something, but Lisa's got something set up down at North Monmouth. She's got, 4 lifeguards and 40 kids so far signed up. And that's great. But you know how I feel about our town beach. I feel like that is the better location for our town's kids to be having their swim lessons with the picnic tables and the playground. It's a beautiful, asset to our town. And I just think it's unfortunate that we can't provide that to our town's kids right there. And it's probably a little more expensive for them, I think you kind of maybe were supplementing. Everybody had to always pay, but it's more expensive now with Lisa trying to do it on her own, and carrying the insurance and everything. It's made her cost that probably kids in town can't afford it.
Yeah, I mean, it was highly subsidized before.
Right.
I mean, the staff, our recreation budget just for the beach is more than the town of Winthrop spends on its entire rec program in the past.
Right. But it's unfortunate there are kids that most likely won't be able to afford to have swim lessons with the current setup.
Yep, and I can understand that too. The only reason that I can't really be confident in being able to hire somebody to set that up, not only is the timing, but we are, by consolidating the positions into one, it comes with benefits and all that. So we're utilizing the money to create a full-time position that then is entitled to retirement, health insurance. So we're using those same funds without asking the taxpayers for any money to try to create one person that's here year-round to try to offer programs to all age groups and to support the Trails Committee. And now that the beach ordinance passed, this board over the next few months will likely be appointing a rec committee. So they'll be staffing that. So there'll be larger conversations about what this person is going to be used for. And I think that was the discussion that you folks all had when you decided to move it this way.
Are you hiring a person like with the ordinance for the beach? I imagine you're going to need somebody to enforce it, right? Like, who's gonna enforce it if there's nobody working down there?
Well, we'll have somebody that'll be the rec director, but we won't necessarily have somebody that's living down there 40 hours a week in the summer, because there may be, in my opinion, hopefully we'll have lots of things going on in the summer for everybody, not just one program at the beach, that there might be other sports or hiking activities or arts class, crafts classes for all the different types of people. We had the discussion when we were hiring people about coordinating with, the main children's theater and Dennis over at the hall and the librarian, and trying to really make something for this kind of one-stop shopping for. Yeah, there's one that I missed. Yep, but that's correct.
Yeah.
So the person won't be sort of living down there like there was before.
Do you need somebody to check for the passes, or you're not really gonna worry about that this year, or?
We don't collect any fees down there anymore. I don't think there's any intention of collecting any fees. If we have widespread issues of non-residents down there filling all the parking spaces, I think we can deal with that at the time, but it's not. I don't intend on, last summer, we didn't have anybody at the gate, and we didn't have any issues last year that I'm aware of with parking or anything.
Maybe that person could bring in that day camp, maybe that's something that could be done this summer, the way they've had that day camp for community kids in the afternoon or whatever.
Yeah, if they think they can pull it off, right? I mean, all of these programs I would envision will be a function of the rec committee will be deciding, where they're going to recommend the priorities be for the budget process, almost like the rec commission used to do. So I would envision the director working with the rec committee, and people who are interested can volunteer through that process in the future. I'm not solving your problem right here in this meeting. I'm just telling you that in the future, I would say that committee is kind of going to be recommending the priorities for the money that is available for all of the town programs that hopefully we'll set up in addition to anything that goes on at the beach. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm disappointed. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, I understand that. And I'm sorry about that.
So what you're saying is that you're hiring a year-round, full-time rec director who is going to oversee all rec programs, the swim program being one
Yes.
of those programs.
And develop new
New
and
stuff.
better and more, not just have soccer, basketball, baseball, softball, and cheering. Have things for adults, for teens, a variety of things. What this town has been asking for is more rec programs and better rec programs and more things. And that's what our goal is to make this program better and to utilize all these trails and things that we're doing and more inclusive to include every age group. And that is going to be moving forward, not living in the past about what it used to be. Well, what can it be? It can be something a whole lot more. So.
The age-friendly group has talked about, doing things, because a lot of the more senior people in town used to do certain things together. They want to start doing that again. So some of the things we've talked about in that group is, getting together and going for a hike down at Whittier Woods or something,
Or a bus trip somewhere,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, that can be organized, yeah.
Yeah, or somebody that can organize it and come along and, know who's gonna sign up, what their abilities are. If we need to, if somebody can't walk on that trail, address that, those things like that. So
But the
that's,
big thing about rec directors is that they're not leading all these programs, they're coordinating people that are, volunteering to lead them, whether it's a craft group or a quilting group or cribbage night, or, they're more of a coordinator that can
game night
and
or
plan and have and get people in that teach and lead these things. So that's what, our vision is that there's more and better things to do.
So will that person have time to oversee the swim program?
So that'll be part of their job. They're gonna be
Okay.
overseeing and leading these things. They're not gonna
Okay.
be doing it themselves because they're more of a coordinator and a department head as opposed to the one teaching how to play soccer. you know, that we'll still have the same people probably doing the soccer and baseball and all of that, which are the coaches for the high school. And then, you know, they coordinate those coaches leading the rec programs.
Yes, my question is, we had a full-time swim director that I'm just asking, will the
We had a
overall-
seasonal position.
It was a seasonal position, but will this person have time to take on all the responsibilities that the swim director has had in the past, is what I'm asking? Or will we hire another swim director? Or is this just part of what, this person will just oversee lifeguards? I guess that's my question.
I think that's to be determined. That's what
Okay,
the board has to create a recreation committee, or the ordinance passed, which then gives a bunch of authority for the board to set up how the beach is going to be used in there. They basically needed this enabling authority from the voters in order for them to make these decisions, because under the park ordinance, it was vested in the Recreation Commission, which is defunct. There's no members. It hasn't met since the first year I worked here, I think. So there hasn't really been any leadership on the recreation front about where it should be going or what the priorities are. So I think the hope is that the rec committee will set those priorities. So if you think, if you're of the camp that you want it to be heavily sports centered, then you should volunteer to be on the rec committee. If you want it to be heavily focused on the beach, I would recommend that you get a voice on there that feels that way, because they'll be the ones making the recommendation to the rec director and then to the select board about what the rec budget should look like moving forward. Does that answer your question?
yes.
Okay.
How much does it cost for a kid to go to the private program?
Well, like Azalea's going 2 days a week for 10 weeks, and it's 85.
And what did it cost when it was at the?
I think it was like 40 or 35.
That sounds about right. I think it was
Yeah.
high 30s, $40, something like that. Yep.
It was $3. It was, I'm just saying, I was.
I don't even remember. I wasn't responsible for paying.
She wasn't responsible for paying, but I was one of the teachers and lifeguards and it's for years down there, so, you know. It was babysat, Mary Chesley and I, and, you know, David Hodges. We put out those buoys many times. And David and I didn't kill each other.
Yeah.
We tried.
Any other public comment? On to authorize an order for the Cumston Hall HVAC improvement. Please.
So this is just like the LED one you read last week, Joe, if you want to read it. It's one of these legal forms that a bank requires you to sign to make sure that the duly elected officials have authorized basically me to sign the lease documents. It's one of those, sign your name to prove this is your signature before you actually sign the next form. Prove the first form you signed was your signature that you do when you get a mortgage. It's one of those forms, but I need a vote when you are comfortable.
So we'll be adopting it tonight.
Yes.
Did I change the date?
Yes, if you'd like to.
So with the vote yesterday, we'll be able to get that process moving forward for that old part in the old furnace that's been the issues.
Oh, the valves?
Yes, the valves.
So we moved the valves forward with a little bit of a commitment from Doug in the library, the Friends of the Library.
Okay.
So we're gonna,
Okay,
so we have information for that, but
Yes.
I've already signed the work order.
Oh,
It's just a
okay.
matter of what
All
the
right.
towns hook in on that is whatever the Friends want to pay of it,
Yeah.
of the balance. But
Yeah.
I can talk to Doug about that. I
Yeah.
just got the thing.
Yeah.
Talk to Doug.
I didn't know where that had gone from the
Yeah.
last time.
So they've ordered the parts. The boiler is now off, so it's not an issue anymore. The building is completely running off of the heat pumps.
Yeah.
So the valves aren't an issue until next fall when we need the boiler, when we need the backup boiler to come back on. So we have some lead time. They thought it would be 60 days to.
Joe has approved this, so I make a motion.
Okay.
Order for the Cumston Hall HVAC improvement lease.
I'll second that.
So Kent has made a motion and Kristen has seconded it to approve the authorization of the HVAC improvement lease for Constant Hall. Those in favor? You. And next is to consider appointing Stephen Eldridge as a full voting member of the 1856 Monmouth Academy Committee. I so move.
Second.
So Joe has made a motion and has seconded it to appoint Steve Eldridge as a full voting member of the 1856 Monmouth Academy Committee. All those in favor? He's a reputable guy. Right?
Yeah, I think so. He's
Uh,
been vetted by a few towns anyway.
We have,
An objection? Yes.
Can I go back to public comment for a second?
Careful what you wish
How did
for.
the ATV, with the state, is the paperwork all now in your hands?
I got the letter today, this morning,
Okay,
from your
okay.
chair. So, with that, I will send that along with the policy that the board adopted, and we'll see, I don't know what the time period is, but yeah, yep.
But we don't have to do anything else.
I don't believe so. No, I think that'll suffice.
Thank you.
took the words right out of my mouth. I was afraid to open it because I was late.
You're gonna have to see Mr. Moody.
Exactly.
was
Stay
afraid.
after school.
He was afraid.
So I have to sit next to Mrs. Poole's desk while I'm
Yes.
waiting for him.
Yes, that would be the biggest punishment available.
You were afraid to open your mouth? You didn't say that?
Exactly.
Write this down.
No.
Next is to approve the warrant number 21 for fiscal year 24-25.
Acadia Insurance Company for $2,188. Advantage Funeral and Cremation Services, $1,080. That was a general assistance payment. Amazon Capital Services, various office supplies for different departments, $1,053.25. Blue Rock Earthworks Materials Transport, $2,772. Blue Star Accounting and Advising, that's Mark Roy, he does our pre-audit information, $1,050. Central Maine Power Company, $4,606. I think it's Cusino Inc., $12,562. That's for the brush grinding at the transfer station. Dennis K. Burke Gasoline, Public Works, $1,771. Eco Maine tipping fees, $1,832. La Rochelle Consulting, $2,320 for TIF consulting fees. Line to Limb Tree Service, $1,500 for tree removal. Maine Equalization Consultants, $2,437. That's the assessor. Maine Municipal Association Workers' Compensation, $5,136. Maine Waste to Energy tipping fees for household trash, $10,139. Mandarin Library Automation, that's the hosting subscription for the library check in and out system, $1,050. RSU number 2, $549,308. State of Maine Bureau of Motor Vehicles, $18,151. State of Maine Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, $21,852. You can tell it's boating season. Town of Winthrop Ambulance, $39,873 for a warrant total of $686,552.85.
I make a motion, we,
I'll see you on Monday. What was the cremation thing?
It was a general assistance. So somebody passed away that didn't have any family or
So one
assets.
funeral costs 2,000, well,
I think it was, yeah, it was a cremation.
for how much?
Depends who you call.
We don't call on these. The state calls us and the town doesn't have a preferred person, so wherever is basically closest, I believe is how they do it, is where it ends up. So the person doesn't even necessarily, if they're a resident here, they may not even actually live here. If they were a resident in say they were in a nursing home in another community, their residency would still be here, so it falls on this community to pay. Correct? There we go, see?
Thank you, Mr.
I'm glad I got that right.
We don't have a choice in who gets, we just have to pay the bill, basically.
Not normally, there's not, I mean, I suppose there might be some process, but most communities don't start getting selective.
Not
What
for
is the
a couple of
cremation
months.
cost?
$9.95 to $4,000 or more, depending on the place of selection of services. And of course, you can add on all kinds of features. Earth barrels are more like $10,000 to $19,000. Your selection.
I make a motion, we accept the warrant number 21 for fiscal year 24-25.
I'll second that.
Chet has made a motion. Christie has seconded it to approve warrant number 21 for fiscal year 24-25. All those in favor? Next is an executive session.
Before we go there, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Quick question. When should we be expecting the auditor?
They're working on the management letter, so some of that $1,000 you're seeing in there is the back and forth. They had some findings in there that we disputed. So we've been going back and forth trying to remove those findings. It's very close, though. You know, the management letter that goes on the top, that's what we're working on. It's basically what they write to you that, you know,
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
final, yeah, they're
Okay.
final.
And then could we get the third quarter financials at our next meeting?
oh, yeah. You're right.
And-
Casey, I'm sorry. Well, we see Casey,
Yes, once the final audit, I'll schedule him to come in and you will see him because the individual that did our audit quit a month ago. So Casey's been trying to finish it for him. So that's what dragged it out. I mean, it's been getting dragged out, but now Casey is looking at, you know, information that he's taken secondhand, and that's why we're having some disputes over what's in the management letter. So it's nothing serious. It's just the things that I don't want in there because we did it right.
And how did the RSU budget turn out?
2 passed, 1 didn't. I don't know what the questions actually mean, so I don't pay attention, so I can't.
So we don't know. I mean, was their budget approved?
I believe so.
Yeah, the budget was approved.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what.
Second question was just a question, do you still want to
you
ask the
keep
budget
doing this
question?
every, you have
Do
to
you want
ask-
us to look at it? Do you want to vote on
that's
it
right,
every
that's
year?
right.
Or do
Whether you
want us
wanna
to just
continue
pass
voting
it
on it. Yes.
Regardless
I'm
of
sorry.
whether you want to vote on it or not, without a number to even know what the number is that you're voting on, so.
That didn't pass.
No, I mean, yes, they still want to vote on it.
Vote on
Right.
it every year.
But it's
Yeah.
so,
Right.
Depending how you look at it, it passed or it didn't. If you're the school, it didn't pass.
through the school, they're not gonna be able to slide it by.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we go to executive session, to 1 MSRA. Section 4056A, personnel.
I'm gonna talk about it.